Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News at 9. You're with me, Stephanie Lazarus, and here are your headlines. Supreme Court quashes a determination by the Court of Appeal that stated that the PSC, which examined the impeachment motion against the former Chief Justice, was illegal. Tamil Nadu lawyers say those convicted of assassinating Rajiv Gandhi cannot be freed until the Supreme Court stay order expires. Opposition presents another no-confidence motion against the government. Water levels of the Victoria Reservoir decreases drastically in the face of drought. Large areas of farmland at risk. Let's now cross over to our news studios where Sonali Vanigabaduge and Nadim Majid are standing by with all the news.
Hello, good evening and welcome. Thank you, Stephanie Lazarus. Moving on, I'm Nadim Majid.
I'm Sonali Vanigabaduge. We start off with a look at tonight's top story.
We're moving on to a story that has been making global headlines and that we have been following very closely here at Newsfirst. Can the 7 persons convicted of assassinating the former Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi be released? Now, certain sections of the opinion that the Tamil Nadu state government has the right to release the convicts, while others debate that as the matter is of national importance, the Tamil Nadu government has no right to release them. Yesterday, the Indian Supreme Court stayed the release of the convicts by the Tamil Nadu government.
Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Jayalalitha Jairam, triggered outrage in the ruling Congress party by announcing her government's decision to release all 7 convicts in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case after the sentences were commuted to life in prison by the Indian Supreme Court. Union government had moved the Supreme Court against Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha's move to free the killers of Rajiv Gandhi, in which the stay order was given.
The decision taken by the state government of Tamil Nadu is 100% correct and legal. The centre will only advise them. The Tamil Nadu government can say that they are going to release them and ask if the centre has any objections. Even if there are any objections, the Tamil Nadu government has the right to reject the objection and proceed with releasing them. This is only an interim injunction order. The Supreme Court says not to proceed until the 6th of March, until legal matters are resolved. Therefore, no one will be released before the 6th of March. If the Supreme Court issues an order, we will comply with it. We will not go against it. The Tamil Nadu government will inform the Supreme Court that the legal procedure has been followed. They will prove that the interim injunction order is wrong. The centre cannot make such a request.
The central government is of the view that this is a matter of national importance. As terrorist organizations are linked to this matter, only the central government can make a decision. The central government will decide if they will be freed or not. Therefore, the sole power of this matter is vested with the central government and not the state government. The state government cannot do anything without informing the central government.
Reacting to the calls made by the Tamil Nadu state government to release the assassins of late Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, India's Junior Education Minister Shashi Tharoor said that terrorism from any quarter of the world directed towards any Indian citizen or on Indian soil must be firmly resisted.
Terrorism from any quarter, from any part of the world directed at Indian citizens on Indian soil must be firmly resisted. And as far as we're concerned, we don't see any difference between one kind of terrorist and another kind of terrorist. You speak of the Rajiv Gandhi killers, but let's not also forget they killed 17 other innocent Indians. As far as I know, we're all Tamils. And I find it odd that people would speak of protecting the interests of the Tamil people and forget the 17 families that are bereaved in Tamil Nadu as well. So our message is very clear. Do not play politics with terrorism.
In Parliament today, the opposition announced that it will bring forth a no-confidence motion against the government once again. The opposition announced that the motion was against the efforts made to transform Sri Lanka into a state overrun by drugs. Today, the opposition alleged that the government had failed to conduct a thorough investigation into large-scale drug racketeering in the country, adding that the government has not taken any steps to eradicate drugs from the country. The opposition further noted that they have lost faith in the ability of the government as the country is becoming one that is overrun by drugs.
Let's take a look at some of the views expressed on the United National Party on the election stage.
The wall has broken down and all the elephants have rallied around our president. There isn't a proper mahout to protect the herd. Who has Ranil Wickremesinghe selected to be the mahout? Mangala Samaravira from Mathura. Mangala Samaravira is from the cinnamon pole army. He is coming with a cinnamon pole in hand to protect this herd of elephants. Can individuals like Mangala Samaravira control the UNP? Will the UNP faithful, the supporters of the party, bow to cinnamon pole leaders like Mangala? As a result of this, the strong leaders in the party are silent today. There was a story that she had gone to Mathura with a cinnamon pole. But in Galle, let alone cinnamon poles, even UNP supporters with twigs have not come to the Galle district. There are none left. Although has gone to Mathura to form the women's brigade of the cinnamon pole army, we have sent a fearless daughter to Mathura who can face this challenge. Come the 30th of March, when the election results are released, Mangala Samaravira, Ranil Wickremesinghe, the cinnamon pole, Karu Jayasuriya's fabrication and everything else will have to be put into that shopping bag that Karu Jayasuriya spoke of.
24 shops and residences in the Pudalu Oya town in Kothmale were burnt to the ground in a fire that broke out early this morning. Nuwara District Secretary DPG Kumarase stated that 120 individuals from 32 families have been displaced as a result of the fire.
The fire broke out at a shop on the Upper Shop Street in the Pudalu town on the Pudalu Nuwara main road at about 1:45 a.m. today. Our reporter said that the fire broke out at a shop selling agrochemicals. Since the homes of several shop owners were located in close proximity to the shops, several homes were also damaged by the fire.
The house was on fire when we came out. We couldn't recover any of our clothes.
The fire brigade of the Nuwara Municipal Council doused the fire with the assistance of the police and area residents. Nuwara District Secretary DPG Kumarasiri noted that it took about 3.5 hours to douse the flames. Those displaced as a result of the fire are currently being sheltered temporarily at the Pudalu Tamil College. Our reporter says that there are 7 small children among the displaced. A lot of people here had leases. Although I am the owner, people had leases. They are innocent people. They may be able to stay in the school for about a week. They will not be able to stay beyond 2 weeks. Meanwhile, President Mahinda Rajapaksa visited the scene this evening and inquired into the welfare of the people.
මේකේ කවුලුවක් නැතුව පිළිවෙලක් නැතුව මේක එකට ඇදුවාම එක තැනකින් පටන් ගත්තාම දිගටම යනවා.
While there were no casualties reported as a result of the fire, Nuwara District Secretary DPG Kumarasiri said that the cost of the damage is still being estimated. The cause of the fire has not been determined as yet. The police are conducting further investigations. Meanwhile, President Mahinda Rajapaksa visited the Kothmale Pradeshya Sabha, where he donated essential items among the displaced.
We are saddened by the incident that occurred in the town. I believe that the UDA should take jurisdiction of the town and come up with a permanent plan to ensure that this sort of thing doesn't happen again. We cannot solve this by using band-aid measures. On to one of our headline stories. The Deputy Director of the Victoria Scheme, Engineer SRK Aruppola, says that the water in the Victoria Reservoir is only sufficient for another month and a half. He points out that if there are no rains, a chronic water shortage could prevail in the near future. Newsfirst Aditya Jayawardena visited several areas in the island which had been parched as a result of the lack of rain.
During the past rainy season, the spill gates of the Victoria Reservoir were opened. Water was released at a rate of 74 cubic meters per second from a single spill gate. This is the Victoria Reservoir today. The Victoria Reservoir, which has a catchment area that spans 1,891 square kilometers, also receives water from the Mahaveli and Hulu rivers. The Victoria Reservoir, which has a capacity of 722 million cubic meters, has a usable water capacity of 688 million cubic meters when the reservoir is full. The amount of water in the Victoria Reservoir has dropped to 284 million cubic meters at present.
This reservoir is the heart of the Mahaveli scheme. The water level of this reservoir is currently at below 39%. Engineers in charge of the reservoir note that if there are no rains, the water in the reservoir will only be sufficient for another month and a half.
Deputy Director of the Victoria Scheme, Engineer SRK Aruppola, says that if water is not used conservatively, a chronic water shortage could arise in the future. The Newsfirst team that inspected the Victoria Reservoir also met with farmers in the Alhara scheme and inquired into the situation there. Farmers from Attana Kadawala, Jasiripura and Ikirivawa say that if they do not receive water, 275 hectares of farmland will be at risk of drying up.
The initial system was correct, but now there is no water at all in the higher ground. There has been nothing for about 10 to 12 days. That is the problem. Now the farmland from there all the way here will die out for sure. After it dies, even if there is water, this paddy will be useless.
There has been no water for 10 to 12 days, and they say that there will be only 3 more releases. There will be nothing left here if this is the case.
They said that they would increase the number of releases to save what paddy that is left at least. But later they said that it will be closed from the 5th of March. We ask that it not be closed on the 5th of March. If we receive water until the 25th of March, we will be able to save what paddy is left at least.
Even if there are continuous heavy showers and the area is flooded, it will be pointless. There is still no water. No matter what is done, it will be pointless. The stalks have wilted. If we did get the water as we were supposed to, we could have gotten 100% revenue from this paddy field.
Given the situation, if another release is reduced, then the paddy will die out the same way. They were given water in the release system, and all of a sudden the Yoda Ala was empty. When the system was being set up here, there was a delay in receiving water from there.
These farmers point out that if water is not received for the Alhara scheme, which meets a major portion of the need of rice nationally, what fields are left will also face the same fate as these wilted fields.
Over 10 to 12,000 acres are at risk. But if water is supplied as it is supposed to be, this problem will not arise. The situation will worsen in the future. At present, 10 to 15% of the crop cannot be harvested.
Senior political analyst Dr. Dayan Jayathilaka notes that Sri Lanka did not prepare for the Cold War against international LTTE reservists following the end of the war. Dr. Jayathilaka made this statement during a book launch held in Colombo yesterday.
A book titled The Total Destruction of Tamil Tigers was launched in Colombo yesterday. The book was authored by Professor Paul Moorcroft, a military historian, as well as the director of the Centre for Foreign Policy Analysis in London.
The mistake that the Sri Lankan state and regime have made was that they did not understand the limits of the splendid victory that they had achieved. It was not understood that the Tiger reserves or the Tamil-Elamist secessionist reserves were still intact and could not be tackled by hard power, by military means. So there was a complete failure to understand the strategic environment in which Sri Lanka was placed in the post-war, post-victory situation. And that the Tiger reserves were intact. And combating the Tiger reserves meant being ready to fight a Cold War, which is now being fought against us. Fighting a Cold War means moving from tactics and strategy to grand strategy, of which there is no conception in the Sri Lankan regime and state. None whatsoever. If there had been a conception of grand strategy, which takes the global battle space as one, then it would have been realized that the Troika had to continue to manage the relationship with India and make good on the fundamental deal that had been struck, which permitted Sri Lanka to win the war. And that is, there would be devolution through the full implementation and the expeditious implementation of the 13th Amendment. The failure to do that meant that, having told everyone else to go to hell while carefully managing the relationship with India, the Sri Lankan state began pretty much to tell the Indians also to go to hell.